Hello and welcome to the circuit of Paul Ricard in the south of France under bright Easter sunshine. A packed paddock getting ready for the start of the 2010 Le Mans Series. A series of 5 races featuring all the cars, categories and classes we'll find at the 24 Hours of Le Mans midway through the season. Kicking off here then in Provence, heading to Spa-Francorchamps before the big break for the 24 Hours of Le Mans in June. Then Portimao, the Hungaroring and Silverstone are the venues. But this first is one of the longest races ever held in Le Mans Series history. An 8-hour encounter here at the circuit Le Castellet, the circuit Paul Ricard. Built in 1970, the former home of the French Grand Prix. And it's here that we'll see our regular 4 categories plus a guest category. 2 prototype classes, P1, the big 900 kilo petrol and turbo diesel open or closed cars. Their lighter brethren, the P2 category, the LMP2 cars, predominantly run by privateer organisations. Just one car this weekend in the big GT road-going class, the GT1 Celine on its own. But in the GT2 category, not only a bumper entry of Porsches and Ferraris, but also a host of newcomers as well. And there's a 5th class here for Formula Mans cars as well with their Corvette V8 engines. Well, Peugeot will be represented here at Le Castellet by the Oreca team, which won Le Mans with Mazda in 1991. This car, the same as the one the factory will be using with their 3-car entry in the 24. And Olivier Quenel, the boss of Peugeot Sport, on hand with Hugues de Schonack, the team boss of Oreca. 2 former Grand Prix drivers pair up in the AF Corsa Ferrari team as well, bringing plenty of glamour. And there's not 1, not 2, but 3 Mansells in the number 5 machine, carrying the famous red 5 of Nigel's Formula 1 championship winning season. He shares the Ginetta Zytek with his 2 sons, Greg and Leo. It's a brand new team, but they raced the Ginetta at Silverstone at the end of last year. And there's been changes at Audi as well. Very different looking nose to the R15 in R15 Plus, guys. It's been redesigned, re-engineered, particularly around the aerodynamics and suspension areas. It's expected to race here at Spa as well before they go to Le Mans. The base of the GT2 field in qualifying was the lead AF Corsa car, Jimmy Bruni and Jaime Melo, and they've got plenty to prove here.
Yeah, sure. Last year I lost the championship for 1 point. So this year, no chance for that one, for sure. If the car stay in one piece, it's better than, with me and Jim in the car, it's going to be very tough. We are very hungry. We want to be back with the championship and win the championship.
Well, they mean business, no question about it. Disappointingly for the Singleton entry in GT1, no competitors means no points, no chance to earn an entry for Le Mans either. In the LMP2 category, expected to be a really tough battle, Stracker racing with a brand new car. Quickest in LMP2, 2.2 seconds faster than the previous pace setters in the class, Kiefel ASM. And in the LMP1 category, fastest of the petrol engine cars, the Gulf, Lola, Aston Martin, Stefan Mucker, Harold Primat, joined by Adrian Fernandez, 1.1 seconds away from pole. It's not expected to compete in the entire Le Mans Series season. With just 2 days of testing, one of which was wet, the Audi team, still learning about its revised car, will be treating the race, it says, as an extended test session. Nonetheless, there was a close battle for pole with the Peugeot team. Dindo Capello and Alan McNish driving a double-handed race in the R15 Plus, but they were pipped to pole. Oreca regulars Nicolas Lapierre and Olivier Panis joined for the race by Stéphane Sarrazin, but it was Lapierre who grabbed pole position in the death.
Yeah, Yeah, it's very good for us. It's better to be in this position than far behind, so it's good for tomorrow. But the race is going to be very long here, even longer than what we are used to. So we are in good position. The car works very well. We did some long distance runs on the free practice, so we are pretty confident. Now we will have a tough battle with Audi and Aston Martin, that's for sure. But we are in a strong position at the moment.
So Sunday morning, brilliant sunshine, but perhaps with a hint of a chance of rain later on in the 8-hour Enduro as the bumper field heads off from the grid. And again, the expected front runners, the main combatants in Le Mans will be Peugeot and Audi, and they will head up this field. Peugeot with the initial advantage, and the Audi drivers wondering whether they're going to have the pace to stay in touch with the French machine. In the LMP2 category, fascinating battle developing between newcomers, left, right and centre, and the established old guard. GT1 Celine will be all on its own, starting from the pit road after a morning warm-up crash damaged it. But in GT2, Ferrari had the upper hand over Porsche in qualifying. They're joined in the race, of course, by Spiker Aston Martin and newcomers BMW, who had little short of a nightmare in qualifying. The Schnitzer team returning to sports car racing, but the M3 a real problematic handful. Well, the M3 already racing in the long-distance races on the Nürburgring and also in the ALMS, but this full ACO rules car, a very different proposition, different aerodynamic package, different engine restrictors, and a completely different rear end, means that they're essentially building two brand new cars and learning how to race them from scratch. Well, the forecast is that the weather should remain a little cloudy. Temperature has dropped since qualifying. The wind starting to pick up and a threat of rain perhaps, and problems for the Hankook Porsche on the warm-up lap. It's not a great way to start your race. Still, no damage seems to have been done, and we are getting ready as the cars come down the long Mistral Straight, named after the wind that blows through this region of Provence, down towards the fast right-hander at Signes. Track temperature just 17 degrees on race day, considerably warmer during the qualifying session, but neither temperature nor conditions on this high-speed test circuit should prove too much of a major nightmare for any of the teams. On board with the Kifel ASM team, the number 40 car, Miguel Amaral and his team, joined by Warren Hughes for the weekend, the defending champions in LMP2. And for Orica and Audi, the race battle for honours is already a preview to what may well be partaking in the Le Mans 24 Hours. Orica will be the fourth Peugeot team, replacing Pescarolo in that honour. And onboard camera here with the Schnitzer BMW team. They're right down at the tail of the grid and looking to move forward fast. This will be an 8-hour test session prior to coming to Le Castellet, the BMW with less than 400 kilometres under its wheels in terms of testing. So getting ready to go then. 4 different classes plus the cars in the Formula Le Mans series. So 41 car grid winding its way round the final corners of this Paul Ricard circuit. The Lola Aston Martin may well be giving us a great view of the dice into the first corner. Luc de Schonack, tense moment. Long time since he's had a factory prototype under his guides. And Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich, his Audi team, have been the benchmark at Le Mans for the better part of the last decade. They will hope to be able to return to that sort of form in 2010 after losing out to Peugeot last year. Lights out on the safety car, getting ready through the final couple of corners as the field forms up in 2x2 formation. The second Orica car, one of their older Oricas chassis with the AIM engine. Number 6 machine in the hands of Sayal Ayari. Then the 2 Rebellion cars on row 3 of the grid. And here we go. 8 hours begins right here, right now. It's the start of the 2010 Le Mans Series, and immediately a sprint into the first corner. 8 hours. You'd think this was an 8-lapper. The Aston Martin trying to insert itself in behind the Peugeot. Nick second place from the Audi. The Audi locks up on the outside. McNish leaves his braking very late indeed. On board with the Aston Martin, the Audis out of sight alongside us. They dice for second. The Aston gets over the curbs, gets out of shape, drops back into third place. And the Audi looking inside. Nicolas Lapierre, the pole sitter. Ooh, he drifts a little wide. Makes a mistake, Cold tyres catching him out. The Audi's alongside, wheel by wheel, a tiny bit of contact. Oh, and there goes the Aston Martin into the lead. Huge opportunism by the Aston Martin. The Gulf Aston has the lead as Audi is second, and our pole sitters Peugeot lasted just 3 corners in the lead. Now the two very different Oreca cars are third and fourth ahead of the Rebellion pair. Ugdashonak remains impassive, but he won't have been wildly impressed with what he saw. Now looking at, moving up quickly in the field is Sayeliari under pressure from car number 12. That is the first of the Rebellion cars. It's the number 13 car. Jouboulion, Guy Smith sharing that car with Andrea Bellicchi, and almost been put into the barriers. Some very dodgy defensive driving by Sayeliari. Hangs on to his position in the number 6 Oreca, but surely he'll be picking up a penalty, and he's lost a position as well there. That's the Signature Plus Aston Martin. The French Signature Plus team running one of the Lola Aston Martins in those black and silver colours, like the 009 that leads the race as we watch from Alan McNish's viewpoint on board the Audi R15 Plus. Both Aston Martins moving up very quickly on the opening lap. One down, how many more to go in these 8 hours? The Aston Martin 009 entry leads. Alan McNish tracking up close behind it. The Peugeot in third place. The second Aston in fourth. And then the number 6 Oreca AIM ahead of the 2 Rebellion cars, and trouble already in the Formula Le Mans category. Number 45 machine facing in the wrong direction. That's Thierry Boutsen's team. Dominic Kreiheimer, Nicolas de Crème and Bernard Deleuze in that car. Meanwhile, the Aston Martin trying to stretch away. Lola Aston Martin expecting not to be on the front-running pace of the diesel engine cars anywhere, as down pit road comes the number 45 machine. Let's take a look what happened. Opening few corners always going to be close in this one-mark category. Hit from behind by the number 47 Hope Pole Vision racing car. Steve Zacchia, Wolfgang Kaufmann and Luca Morro, the trio on board that one. And they also heading into the pits as the leaders battle. Now the Peugeot already 2.3 seconds behind this lead pair, and that doesn't spell a very good start to the race for Peugeot. They were expecting to start from pole and run away, but at the moment it's Aston Martin versus Audi. Of course, 8 hours is a very long way indeed, and so Peugeot's fears may not necessarily become reality, that they will be off the pace here. And for Ugdashonak and his team, this is a real opportunity for the drivers and the engineers to learn a brand new vehicle. The Peugeot Sport mechanics have been running the car for 3 years. They built the car, but for Oreca, it's all new. No matter how much you study the handbooks, until you get racing, you really don't learn a great deal, even in testing. Well, McNish still not in a position to put in a move on that lead Lola Aston Martin. Fantastic start. So there you see the order at the moment. The 2 Oreca run cars separated now by the second Aston, which is up to 4th place. And in the LMP2 category already, the grid positions have changed. Well, McNish seems to be perhaps sensibly biding his time. He's close enough to the Gulf Aston to try and make a move. Certainly close enough to pile on the pressure. This may be a cat and mouse game for a lap or two. Now look how he closes as they come down the straight. Here comes the speed of the R15 Plus down the Mistral. The paddock on your right-hand side, left as you look at it now. And he just makes sure he has enough road to get into Senior as fast as possible. It's a fabulous fast turn-in, high-speed hang-on corner, Senior. A real scary one in 1980s and particularly 1970s Formula One cars. Probably no less worrisome in these high downforce prototypes. Getting to there at about 190 miles an hour and barely lifting before they turn in. Now the Aston in second place, feeling the pressure from the Peugeot, and see how quickly the Audi has sprung away now that McNish has been released in the lead. He's already got the better part of a second as they come to the line. So McNish now in the lead for the first time. First time since the start of the race that anything other than the Aston Martin has led. And coming out of the pit lane, some of the early problems, including the Celine, which is now leaving its box and heading into the race. So 3 laps down on the leaders already, and that tally is sure to grow. On board in the Peugeot then, our pole sitter, a little determined now perhaps not to make any further errors after he cost himself the lead of the race right at the very start. Well, as we've seen so many times in the last couple of seasons of Le Mans Series racing, what is intended to be a 6 or 8 hour enduro turns into a 4-lap sprint right at the very start. And in some cases, thinking particularly of Portimao last year, the 4-lap sprint lasted for the full 2.5 hours before it settled down. Well, here comes the move then. The Peugeot with the run on the outside line. That's the clean line into Senior. Carries the speed in, as you saw, just a little weaving there under braking from both cars. And on board the Lola Aston Martin, plenty of handwork. Well, there are the ProDrive engineers for that Lola Aston Martin team. Aston Martin Racing running the single car through, well, a couple more races than Audi and Peugeot expect to do, but not, we believe, yet for the full season. So, Audi lead, Peugeot second, Lola Aston Martin in third place. Expected 3 front runners are right there, but the way it happened, well, who could have expected this? Perhaps we ought to start expecting this sort of stuff at the beginning of the race, particularly first race of the season. Everybody wants to get a marker down, but the first 4 went off like scalded cats. You got 3 wide behind them. McNish locking up on the outside, trying to go around the poleman. Didn't quite manage to get past Nicolas Lapierre, but immediately had the Lola Aston Martin alongside. And when Lapierre had a little wobble, McNish got boxed on the inside, trying to find a way round. But in the end, it was a great piece of opportunistic driving that put the Lola Aston in front. Olivier Panis there sharing a joke with Hugues de Schonack. Panis will be part of this driver lineup, another of the ex-Grand Prix drivers in the field. If you count those who are now running teams, over half a dozen former F1 pilots, most of whom raised in this circuit's heyday. With slightly less confusion at the start in the GT2 category. These are our pole sitters, the Jaime Melo and Jimmy Bruni Ferrari out front. Jaime Melo taking the start in that car as he set the pole position. Right behind him, though, battle for second place with the Porsche up in third position. And that's a Raymond Narac Patrick Piet car, which started outside the top half dozen in the class. So they have gone very well indeed. Down into 6 is the best qualified Porsche, the number 77 car. So it looks as though the Porsches have had varying different fortunes at the start, but certainly Ferrari with 3 of the top 4 cars, the 430 looking pretty strong at the moment. Well, here you can see the Oreca team expecting a car in. It's the number 6 machine. This is their Oreca chassis with the AIM motor. These are the cars they were running last year at Le Mans. So Aliari coming in with a puncture. And you can see the Rebellion cars now starting to make headway against the 008 Lola Aston Martin. Quick tyre stop for the well-drilled Oreca crew. Ayari back on his way, but he's been substantially delayed. No problem so far for, on the left, Wolfgang Ulrich, and on the right, Reinhold Joost. The number 7 Audi leading with Alain McNish. But there is potential drama around every corner. Little wayward, slower car. Yeah, Dindo Capello on the left and Tom Christensen may smile, but they weren't trying to dodge that bullet. Alain McNish did successfully. The car so far running flawlessly, reports the driver. And P1 in their class and overall, so leading the race and the LMP1 category, as in comes the number 12 Rebellion car, the LMP1 pair, running very strongly, both in the top half dozen. But problems here, clearly a puncture on the left for Neil Yarni, the starting driver. In this bunch of traffic, Yarni ends up on the gravel. Suspiciously close Ferrari right behind him, one of the GT2 cars, as he regains the track. Seems as though there may have been contact. He's picked up a puncture, and in he comes. Team will change the tyre and send him back out, but immediately it's evident the puncture was not the cause but the effect. Broken suspension from contact A firm shove from that Ferrari has broken the rear end. It's another slow lap for the 12 car. They'll lose more time. Meanwhile, Patrick Piet and Raymond Norak's IMSA Matmut Porsche, the best of the German cars in the GT2 category, having a great dice with their Ferrari rivals. Now down to third position behind the CRS Racing Ferrari, and in the middle there, between the two CRS cars, is the 77 Felbermayr Proton Porsche, and Mark Lieb starting that car. Richard Lietz, his co-driver. Now perhaps the strongest of the driver lineups in the Porsches, and arguably in the entire GT2 field. I'm sure the arguments would come from Jaime Mehler and Jimmy Bruni about that. Unscheduled pit stop for the Spiker. Unfortunately, this is the reason why. Left rear suspension problem, pouring smoke off that rear wheel as they crab into the pits. It's going to be a bit of a long stop for them. Problems too for the JMW Aston Martin in GT2. They've got a fuel issue as they come into the pits. So too do the leaders. The number 7 car is down at Yost. The number 4 car is at Orica. So this is going to be a battle on the track and in the pits. Less than 8 seconds between them when they came in. Alan McNish quickly on his way with fuel and new tyres. And as he heads down pit road, doubtless the Audi team will have the stopwatches running on the Peugeot opposition, but they're still in the pit lane. They've got problems. They're trying to get the dolly wheels under the car. It won't come off the ground on the onboard air jack system that all these cars have. And the Audi goes by the pits. They're still fighting that Peugeot off the pit apron. Audi already a lap ahead before Peugeot even gets back into the Orica garage. It's a real drama for Ugo Schoenack and his crew. They're going to have to disassemble the car and get the air system working before they can rejoin the race. Audi lead from the 009 Aston, Rebellion's 13 car in third place. In the LMP2 category, Kiefel ASM, the reigning champions, are back in charge. And in GT2, Porsche now 1 and 2 at the 1 hour mark, ahead of the pole-sitting Ferrari. Well, strange things happen in endurance races. Already we've had quite a few strange occurrences, and 7 more hours left to race here at Paul Ricard. Opening round of the 2010 Le Mans Series at the Circuit du Castellet, the 8 hours race at Paul Ricard. And here's our race leader, the number 7 Audi R15 TDI Plus. Everyone looking fairly relaxed in the Audi garage. They've already made their first stop. 009 Lola Aston Martin running in second position after the Peugeot's problems with the air jacks. They're on pit road. There will be a driver change as well. And first time in the Le Mans Series as a racer for Adrian Fernandez. Well, he's come over from the American Le Mans Series to race the car there, taking over from Stefan Mucker. And while that pit stop happens, the Rebellion team move up into second place overall. The 13 car now running very quickly. Quick change too as Nigel Mansell jumps out to the number 5 Ginetta Zytek and hands over to the first of his sons, Greg. Leo will also drive the car with the ex-Formula 1 world champion.
It was a great experience. We made a very good start, but as everyone says, the first lap is and the first corner is nothing. I had the one car on the inside, but he wanted the corner a little bit more than me. But I was very good with the pace on the first 2 laps. But then we have a slight handling problem with the car, but we're very happy. It's our first race. We had a problem with restarting the engine in the pits, but I'm very pleased we're still running. And it'll be a great success for the team if we can finish the 8-hour race.
How is it? The passion looks really, really here. You talk with everybody, you talk with your engineers, you give advice to everybody. It means that Nigel Mansell enjoys racing again?
Oh, it's fantastic. I love the traffic. I mean, it's great when you're going through traffic. You can catch the quicker cars, but I have to take, not that I'm wearing a hat, I take my hat off to Audi and Peugeot and the Aston Martin. They came past me down the straight as I was standing still, so I think we need another 500 horsepower. But great experience, great racing, and compliments to Le Mans and ACO, because this is fantastic racing. Brilliant.
Well, it was fantastic, to be honest. First time in this kind of championship, and the difference in between the prototype and our GT2, it's huge. but the spirit of the race is like that, and I enjoy very much my first stint.
How is it, the battle in the GT2 class? Because everybody is really, really close. You said that it was a little bit bumpy sometimes.
Yes, it's a bit bumpy. I had some shunt, but so far so good. Very, very straightforward. And the balance in between the different cars are very, very well made. We are extremely competitive with the Ferrari, but there is the Porsche, there is other cars also there. So we have to fight for the win.
Well, the two Porsches out front, nose to tail in traffic including the BMW, which seems to be picking up pace, and the Aston Martin, which is soon to retire. And the battle for GT2 supremacy continues right in through the pit stops. Both teams looking for the upper hand. Meanwhile, Jean Alesi's co-driver, Giancarlo Fisichella, yes, yet another ex-Formula One driver, looking to try and take third position. Here from Andrew Kirkcaldy, the Scot in the CRS racing Ferrari. Well, these two have been at it hammer and tongs for several laps. This time Fisichella getting a move into senior at the end of the straight. He picks up the place.
It's going well at the moment, but we had a difficult start with the windscreen getting very dirty, and at some point I thought I had to stop to clean it, but no, it's going really well. The whole package is working very well. Great pit stop for the guys as well, and the engine HPD package with the Dunlops are fantastic. I had a good double stint on the Dunlops, and it's great. There's no drop off at all, and yeah, so far so good, going well.
Tommy Erdos and Mike Newton joined by Andy Wallace in the number 25 RML Lola Coupe, and after little short of disaster in 2009, a change of engine and tyre package seems to have worked wonders. They're quick and reliable. Last year's LMP2 champions Kiefer ASM joined by Warren Hughes this weekend. Disappointed with a lack of pace in qualifying, but they seem to have turned that round for the race, inheriting the lead of the class after the 42 Stracker Racing entry hit problems before being delayed themselves. After 4 hours, Audi Sport Team Joest lead from the 009 Aston with Rebellion a strong third place. In the LMP2 category, RML heads the 2 Oak Racing Pescarolo Judds with the Team Brook Laddie car looking very good in fourth. It's all change at the top of the field as well in the GT2 class. The Porsches, which are outpaced in qualifying, running first and 7. The pole-sitting AF Corsa car, not second, not third, but 6th in the GT2 category. And the GT1 class still being led by the Singleton Celine, with a couple of retirements already on the board. The opening race of the 2010 Le Mans Series marks the return of BMW to sports cars.
BMW is a tradition in endurance racing, and as a team we have this tradition, and so it was nice to be able to join LMS and to do the first race at Paul Ricard.
Well, the Schnitzer team were very disappointed with the car in qualifying. It was last in GT2, but here it is battling to stay in second place ahead of the pole-sitting Ferrari of Jimmy Bruni. Jürgen Müller doesn't quite have the handling and pace yet to hang on. The Ferrari recovering after being delayed by a long pit stop earlier in the race. Well, for BMW, it's not all plain sailing. This extended test session takes a bit of a hit at the end of the 5th hour. Car in the pits. The stones have damaged the radiator. More work for the mechanics.
It's good. I enjoy it. It was my first stint ever in a GT car, and it was very interesting. I was doing good fighting with another Ferrari, and we overtook each other many times. I learned a lot. Now in about 20 minutes I will go back again, and I'm sure I will do better than what I did. It was already good, but the good thing is now we are leading the race, but it's too early to say something.
More than 4 hours after its delayed pit stop, the Oreca Peugeot now up to 7th position, but still 9 laps behind the leader. There might be a slight chance of making a podium, perhaps. Third place, 5 laps in front, but the Peugeot lapping very quickly indeed. No one is losing sight of the fact, however, that this is really all about learning the car for Orica. This is vital preparation for the Le Mans 24 Hours, not just for the mechanics, but for the entire setup, including their Michelin tyre engineer. For the third place Rebellion, Lola Coupe of Joubouillon spinning out. The reason quite clear. As the replay shows, it's contact from one of their rivals, the 008 Signature Plus Aston Martin of Pierre Rag, thumping the 13 car up the backside. Bouillon just over a minute ahead of fourth place Didier Andre in the number 6 Orica AIM. Needs to get back on track quickly. Seems to be no long-term damage done. Meanwhile, Ricard Lietz in the lead of the GT2 category. 2 hours 45 minutes, a full American Le Mans Series distance left to go. And just after losing the class lead, the Ferrari of Jaime Melo grinding to a halt at the side of the track. Not going to be their weekend after all. Well, the wind's picking up, the temperature plummeting. That rain might be on the way. Pit stops completed for 009 Aston. Stefan Mucker second in LMP1. And behind the 24 Oak Racing Pescarolo Judd, Mathieu Lahaye second in LMP2. Aboard the Lola Aston Martin. Cold tyres straight out of the pits. Meanwhile, this is the LMP2 leader, Guillaume Moreau, the other Oak Racing Pescarolo Judd. Routine stop for them. They retain the class lead as the RML Lola HPD moves up to second place. But the Oak Racing duo looking very strong. Leader in routine stop, Alan McNish handing over the Audi R15 to Dindo Capello. The lead by 3 laps with a little over 2 hours remaining in the race. So far the car completely problem-free. Reinhold Joost on the left, Ralf Hüttner on the right. Looking pretty relaxed about things. Richard Lietz has handed over the 77 Felbermayr Proton Porsche to Mark Lieb. They lead the GT2 class.
It's a very tough race at the moment. I mean, we are fighting with the traffic, you know, with the prototypes, and also we are fighting against the time to keep the distance to the Fisichella and Alesi and Wielander car.
And here is that car in second place. Giancarlo Fisichella back at the wheel, and as he said, going quicker than first time round, chasing hard, trying to reel in the class leaders in GT2. And the best of the Ferraris, not necessarily what was expected with 2 rookies on board, no matter how starry their heritage. Not what was expected from the number 4 Peugeot 908 either. The Orica car now up in the top half dozen, trying to work its way towards the top 3. Audi lead from Aston Martin and Rebellion. And in the LMP2 category, the blue numbers, Oak Racing first and second. They're Pescarolos now with Judd Power, having lost last year's Mazda engines through lack of reliability, but kept the Mazda sponsorship. In the GT2 class, Team Felbermayr Proton Porsche, as Mark Lieb said, just ahead of the resurgent AF Corsa team Labra. There's Celine still leading that GT1 category, and now with over 6 hours completed, some more retirements further down the field, damage being done. So the race leader, the number 7 car. And again, Dindo Capello at the helm, looking comfortable at the head of the field. But danger always a potential. The Le Mans class-leading car of Matthias Besch, reminding everybody to be on their guard. Luckily, no major dramas this time for Dindo Capello with that Formula Le Mans car, or indeed anywhere else. But maybe the heavy clouds might still produce some drama. Wolfgang Ulrich cast his eyes to the heavens. Rain had been forecast for the final stages. And that might not be a disappointment for the 5th place Signature Plus team.
I had 2 testing days in Manicourt so far, but only under rainy conditions. And so now I'm ready for the rain, but it didn't come today. It's true, I drove 2 stints with the car, and I have to adjust small details inside the cockpit on my position, but otherwise it's very constant and nice to drive.
So Signature Plus with plenty to learn with their new cars. So too Oak Racing, their new setup, but they're going very well, as the LMP2 leader explains.
I'm very happy and I'm still confident because we're already in a good pace. It's right, I push a lot since 2.5 hours, and I just crossing my finger because Ricard at the wheel I think can do a good job. So I'm just waiting, but to be realistic, I think it will be difficult to finish first. But I'm confident on a podium, maybe second. It will be a very good result because all the team works very, very hard since the weekend. We have got some problems, so I'm just crossing the finger to finish because we have to finish the race.
Well, they failed to even record a time in qualifying. They fought their way back into the class lead, but now they're being run down by Danny Watts, the pole-sitting Stracker Racing entry, closing on the LMP2 lead.
We've got one more stop, which will be tyres and fuel, and then we think we can run to the end. And if that's the case, we should be looking very strong.
Well, with Danny Watts flying in the Stracker car, Ricard N under real pressure for Oak Racing. And here is the battle for the lead of LMP2. It's expected to be one of the major class battles in the field, and so it has turned out to be, with a lot more different players than were expected before the event. Danny Watts makes the move down into the first corner. Back in the lead goes the pole-sitting car. Well, that makes yet another change of lead in the LMP2 class, and yet another different machine to lead the second of the prototype categories. But the overall race has been dominated almost entirely from the start by Audi. 009 Aston and Rebellion's 13 car still second and third, ahead of the number 6 Orica machine. Oak Racing just passed by Stracker for the lead. They're now second and third in the LMP2 class. Felbermeyer Proton still hanging on as all sorts of changes happen behind, including their teammates in the 88 car moving up to third in the GT2 category. And the list of the halt and the lame, those falling several laps behind, grows longer with every hour as we head into the final run to the checkered flag here at Paul Ricard. Third place and a really strong run into the closing stages for the Rebellion team. The number 12 car with a suspension breakage after being hit by a slower machine early on, but the number 13 car has really led the charm life of the two. It's going very quickly as well. But a scramble in the pits for the Orica team. Their Orica AIM is in fourth position as they come in. Oops, hands, knees and bumps a daisy. Unscheduled stop for a tyre change, and that instantly hands fourth place to car number 4, the Peugeot 908 that they're running, recovering after rejoining 9 laps down in 25th position after an air jack system failure. They move up into fourth place, but a podium is still 5 laps away with less than 20 minutes remaining. And as Olivier Panis steps out into the drizzle, are they going to need the wets or the intermediates? Slippery surface flags are out. Reinhold Joost has plenty to think about inside the final 10 minutes. Now, are Audi going to take a gamble and stay out? They've got a very substantial lead, but that's no use if the car is half destroyed in an accident by a slower car or by the weather. The die is cast. Wolfgang Ulrich doesn't look entirely happy about it. Tyres coming out as the car comes down pit road. But what will Dindo Capello take? Intermediates or wet tyres? It's barely drizzling. Surely intermediates will do it. Tyre change is underway. Capello cleans the visor, but no, it's full wets. This is belt and braces safety. Now, they've still got 8 minutes. That's about 3, possibly even as many as 4 laps at full racing speed on what's almost a dry circuit on wet weather tyres. That might be a gamble too far. And the Orica pits there watching proceedings. Are they going to twitch and bring their cars in for wet weather tyres? Or are they going to gamble that Audi have been overcautious and maybe might throw away the lead of the race? Well, still some consternation among the Audi and Michelin men as Dindo Capello heads back out on track. Meanwhile, into the closing stages, Stracker Racing back out front where they qualified. Their car leading the LMP2 category. And the last few minutes as well. Hopefully no new noises in the Team Felbermeyer Proton Porsche. Their car has been in charge of GT2 for several hours now. And on to the final lap is the overall leader, the Audi. Right behind, the LMP2 leader almost falls off the track there as they all queue up behind. Couple of GT2 cars with their own battle going on nip through, but also queuing behind the Audi to avoid making another lap will be some of the other runners. There's the number 5 Beechstein Mansell, Ginetta Zytek dropping into line, and the Celine is coming in there as well, the GT1 leader. They don't want to pass the Audi and be forced to do another lap, particularly if there's going to be a downpour any second, as seems potentially to be the case. 30 seconds remaining as they're on the Mistral down the back straight, and dropping off nearly a minute in pace on the last lap, the Audi. Dindo Capello will take no chances here on these full wets, because they will wear very quickly as they overheat on an almost dry track. Battles for position continue right to the checkered flag, and that trio will all look to put in an extra lap to try and move themselves back up the order. The number 6 Orica desperate to try and undo the damage of that last-minute unscheduled pit stop. Ferrari battles continue for minor GT2 places, but it seems now certain, as the sun starts to set in the south of France, that it's not going to be a happy day for the French teams, but for the German one. Audi with Dindo Capello in the R15 Plus heading out of the final corner. The checkered flag awaits. 8 hours completed here, the longest Le Mans Series race, and it is won by the revised Audi R15 LMP2 victory and GT1 winner right at the line. Alan McNish looking very happy indeed there with Ralf Juttner, the technical director of Joest Team Audi. And there is our GT2 class winner, and it's a phenomenal 1-2 for Felbermayr Porsche. Well, what a sensation for Porsche after Ferrari dominated qualifying.
Alan, well done. First race for the R15 Plus and first victory.
Yeah, it's a fantastic. Dindo and I gave the R10 along with Tom, and also the R15 original its first victory, and now to do the R15 Plus is excellent. It was a tough race in some ways, but you know, we can be very proud of this one, because it's not often you get such a new car, you take it to the track and it wins first time.
Well, great effort by the Audi team. McNish clearly happy, Capello likewise.
You know, at the start we had some big problems and we fall back, and we were fighting back the whole race. I mean, it's fantastic to win the first race, and thanks to Audi, thanks to Dindo and Alan, because we got double points now for the championship, because they made the 1500 case. Yeah, it's fantastic for the team, and also to get a double victory. And I think for my team was Christian Ried, and everybody who was involved in this is just unbelievable, and we are very, very happy right now.
Well, double points for them means a double disaster for the AF Corsa team. Here's our LMP1 podium then. Audi with the Rebellion team on the left and the 009 Aston Martin team on the right. They're joined by the winners of the Michelin Green X Challenge, the number 42 Straka Racing entry on the podium as well. And of course they're the LMP2 class winners as well. So Tom Christensen looking happy in the watching team, as his Audi teammates, who he'll join at Le Mans, take victory in the series opener in the Le Mans Series race here in Le Castellet. Confirmation then of the LMP1 class result. Beechstein Mansell Motorsport in 8th place made the checkered flag, which is what they hoped, and Audi, well, all their wishes coming true as they claim victory, and Peugeot Orica struggling. So delight for Audi, a job well done, first time out. In LMP2, Straka Racing on the top step of the podium. Nick Leventis with Danny Watson, Johnny Kane. Not quite front to back to front, but certainly front to middle back to the front. They win the LMP2 category. Delighted team celebrating with them. And two British cars and teams on the podium, with RML finishing in third place behind the best of the Oak Racing entries. Well, great weekend for Straka. Great too for Oak Racing. New engine combo with their chassis. They get one car on the podium. They were 1-2 into the closing stages. Great result for Team Brooke Laddie as well. On the GC1 podium, our sole entry, run by Labre Competition. The Celine completed the distance, but for Gabriele Gardel, Patrice Goulin and Julien Canal, hard to know what to do really. If no one else shows up, they'll never score points, so not quite sure what the next step might be. For them though, a home victory, French team, French drivers, French circuit, and nearly crowned by the tricolore as well. Well, for them, it was making the distance. In GT2, there was an awful lot more going on. Frantic battles all the way through, and in the end, incredibly, a Porsche 1-2 despite all of the Ferrari opposition. And the best of that included two brand new drivers, to sports cars at least, joining Tony Villander in third place, Giancarlo Fisichella and Jean Alesi, and they both enjoyed their racing. Second place in the 88 Felbermayr Proton Porsche, Pat Long joined by Christian Ried, the tall guy, and Martin Raginger. Christian Ried, the team boss of the Felbermayr Proton team. And it was his 77 car and teammates that claimed a victory. Mark Lieb and Richard Lietz, the two factory stars, on the top step of the GT2 podium. And as they said, double points for this bonus distance race. A phenomenal start for the team. And that is pretty much it for the first race in the 2010 Le Mans Series. GT2, LMP2 and LMP1 producing fantastic racing. Great tussles as well in the Formula Le Mans class. And plenty more action to come. Spa up next before the 24 Heures du Mans. But in the GT2 result, a phenomenal effort from Team Felbermayr Proton. A 1-2 result for their cars, and double points means double pain for the AF Corsa team, Jaime Melo and Jimmy Bruni. That's it then for Paul Ricard. We'll see you next time out at Spa-Francorchamps.